For Volko Nudius, he was a man of many secrets. It wasn't often that people asked him about his past, and even when they did, he made sure to give as little as possible. His past life, who he used to be, he more or less tried to leave that behind him. Instead of looking back, he found it more productive to look forward. And it helped that he had a student to help keeping him and pushing in that direction. Of course, he could have never have imagined that he would have become a pirate, more or less traveling through the Grand Line once again. He thought that those days had long since passed him, but now here he was, preparing to descend upon the country of Alabasta. However, before the Straw Hats would arrive, as the log pose was leading him into that direction, with Vivi pointing out that most likely they would be led to the Alabasta port town, a docking area known as Nanohana. Vivi believed this would be a good place to dock and get resources before making their trek to the capital of Alabasta, where the royal palace and where her father would be, the palace of Alabasta. Of course, though, Volko would raise his concerns. For one, if what Vivi had said was true, that her country was on the brink of civil war, chances are traveling through the main roads to get to Alabasta would most likely lead her into right conflict with the rebels. And even if she was trying to broker peace by exposing the evil dealings of Crocodile the warlord, they wouldn't take too kindly to her giving out false claims without any sort of proof, even if what she said was true. As such, they would have to change course. They'd have to find another, more discreet way into Alabasta without attracting the attention of either the Marines or of the warlord Crocodile, who most likely had his own operatives out looking for Vivi as they spoke. But before they would pull into port, as they were passing through some undersea volcanoes and waters that were rather hotter than normal, they found a rather oddly dressed individual swimming about and searching desperately for safety. After pulling him aboard onto the ship, the man would introduce himself as Clay. While he was a rather odd fellow, he was quite entertaining, as he even showed off his own devil fruit-like ability, which explained why he had a lack of effort when trying to swim. It was known as the main no Mi, or the clone fruit, with its properties allowing for him to transform and impersonate anyone whom he touched. He would perform this as he touched Luffy and Chopper and Usopp, performing and transforming into their faces and making funny ones along the way. He was rather entertaining, and their spat would be short-lived, as before long his pirate ship would arrive along with his crew that had been looking desperately for their captain. Clay would bid them farewell as they would part ways, only for Vivi to realize that the so-called Clay that they had encountered was none other than Mr. Two, a fellow member of Baroque Works. However, she knew that this would now be even more dangerous, as he now knew who Vivi was traveling with, and had a good view of the Straw Hats, and had even been able to impersonate a few of them. However, the Straw Hats would take this in stride, with Volko suggesting that they write the letter X on their forearms, as well as tying a white bandana around it. That way, if Clay were to encounter them again and try to use any form of trickery pretending to be a different Straw Hat, then they'd be able to tell who was who, because even if Clay could copy their looks, he wouldn't have the distinctive marker that everyone else would. After their encounter with him, they would then arrive to Nanohana. As they pulled into port, everyone decided to go off on their own to get their various supplies and things they would need before they would set out traveling west of Alabasta to dock their ship and make way onto the mainland. For Volko, he made it very adamant that they get plenty of water, especially for himself and Luffy. Atlanteans were rather strong and capable, but prolonged exposure to heat and with no water, that could prove deadly even for them, weakening their immune system and their overall strength, making them much more susceptible to attack. As for Luffy, with Triton slung on his back, he went rushing with his portion of the funds straight to where the food was. He was a growing child after all, and Volko could attest to this, but even he himself were feeling quite hungry, although Luffy was a different beast altogether. Luffy found the nearest tavern he could that was serving up grub, and he was ready to feast. He had a smorgasbord of plates of food, cooked meats and vegetables and other things, all laid out before him, although he was more of a meat and potatoes kind of guy. As Luffy was going about eating, a commotion could be heard on the outside. He didn't pay much attention, though, as he was only focused on the large rack of ribs and the roast on his plate. But the danger would soon find him, as a shirtless black short individual wearing an orange bucket hat would get slammed into the patronage, as a man dressed in marine attire, with 3 cigars hanging out of his mouth and holding on to a staff that was tipped with sea prism stone, would come chasing after. I only came here for Straw Hat. Who would have thought I would find the vice captain of the Whitebeard Pirates? I'm only one of many, good captain, but I didn't come here looking for a fight. Though if you want one, I'm more than happy to oblige. You can do this the easy way or the hard way. Come in quietly, or else you'll... Huh? So good. What the? Huh? Huh? Luffy, is that you? Oh. Oh. Ace? Is that you? Yeah, it's me, Luffy. What the hell are you doing here? And why is this old guy chasing you? Huh? Straw Hat. Man, it's good to see you, Luffy. I always knew that you had it in you to make it, but I never thought you'd have gotten as far as Alabasta. You really are something else. It's not just me. I've actually been putting together a crew. Even Volko's along. What? Old man Volko? He's here? Oh, God. How the hell did you convince him to become a pirate? Man, you really must have had a way with words or something. Ugh! Ace would find himself getting slammed into a table as Smoker approached Luffy. Luffy, now distracted, back into his food once more. Ooh, I like the sauce. Will you stop scarfing down the food? Huh? My pot roast. I don't want the damn pot roast. You're under arrest, Straw Hat. You might have everyone else fooled, but not me. I know what your kind is capable of. I've seen it. I've seen that look in your eyes. You're absolutely crazed. A madman that can't be reasoned or bargained with. I know someone like you. There is no negotiating. Sometimes there are just pirates who want to watch the world burn. Is that something you want to take up with my brother? He's the one with the firepower and... Shut it! Now we can do this the easy way or the hard way. The choice is yours. Luffy would grab hold of his trident. As he looked around the patronage, he stabbed it into every morsel of meat, every drumstick, every chicken leg, turkey leg, roast, rib, until finally his Triton was nothing but a smorgasbord of meats and sausages and everything else in between. Once he had his full, and he shoved all that remained on his plate into his mouth, he gave Smoker a humble bow before running right out of the patronage, with Smoker chasing soon behind. Meanwhile, as the other Straw Hats had gathered most of the supplies that they needed before they'd be setting sail and getting ready to dock, they saw in the distance Luffy, running with a Triton full of meat behind him as... Oh no. It's a... Usopp would say, It's that damn Marine from Logtown! Run! Run! Get on the ship! Just get on the ship! Huh? Luffy? Volko would say. Oh, brother. Everyone get along! We need to get out of here now! As Smoker would send out using his smoke fruit, attempting to bind and hold Luffy in place, Zoro would create a barrier with his power ring, allowing for Luffy and the others a chance to set aboard as they were ready to dock out of Nanohana. As they did so, Smoker would call forth for backup, as the Marines would dock into their ship, ready to give chase behind the Straw Hats, along with other guards and bounty hunters in the area, as now they all had a huge target upon them. However, as fate would have it, the Fire Fist Ace would arrive to the Straw Hats' aid, providing cover for them to make it out into the main seas, as well as destroying a few of the runner ships that had been sent to chase after them. As the Straw Hats made their escape, they watched in awe as Ace would get to work, quickly disposing of the Marine fighting force of their fleets and keeping them stranded in the port town of Nanohana. By the time he had wrapped up, Ace would land gracefully on the decks of the Straw Hat ship, with Luffy running up quickly to give his brother a high five and a hug, as he hadn't seen him in quite a while. Ace, I can't believe you're here, man! Yeah, I was out on my own little adventure, and then all of a sudden, what do I find? Baby bro stepping out into the world, putting on his big boy sails. It's good to see you again, Ace. It's nice to see that time has been well to you. You've gotten a lot stronger. Mr. Volko. Ace would bow to him respectfully. It's an honor to see you again, sir. And thank you so much for being with my brother. It's no problem at all. But still, what brings you all the way out here in these parts of the Grand Line? Well, those are my troubles to deal with. I had a little bit of insubordination. A traitor. And now he's gonna pay. And what about you all? Oh, Nami would say. Well, this here is our meal ticket, she said, pointing straight to Vivi. Vivi took offense to that, but still, it wasn't like she was entirely wrong here. Hi, I'm Vivi Nefeltari. I'm the Princess of Alabasta? Oh, crap. Luffy, I didn't think you'd get into kidnapping. Huh? I didn't kidnap her, Luffy would say, as he took hold of the Triton that he carried on his back and started pulling off pieces of meat to finish the feast that he started. She followed us. We didn't follow her. It's true. I was in desperate need of assistance. And well, I turned to pirates. But they're not like any other pirates I've met. They've been rather kind and helpful to me, and for that I am grateful. You must be in a pretty bad bind if you need help from pirates. Why not just call on the Marines? I have a feeling like I'll be executed if I do. Huh? The crew would bring Ace up to speed on what was going on, and for Ace, it was definitely a tall task. Well, what did they expect? The warlord system. It's all a load of crap, Ace would say. Once a pirate, always a pirate. All they've done is invite the foxes into the hen house, and now all of it's coming home to roost. The fact that a warlord like Crocodile is trying to take over Alabasta, it's not too hard to figure out. This kingdom is known for its vast amounts of wealth and resources, and strategically, it's a good place to set up shop, especially when you're trying to travel through different points of the Grand Line. I should know. I've been here a couple times myself. You have? Oh yeah, the Kingdom of Alabasta. You could say it's like an island of gold. Or at least, that's what the legends say. I assure you, our resources do not tie into such a legend, Vivi would say. But he's not wrong. The wealth of Alabasta is to be one of the richest kingdoms in all of the world. It's like a jewel. And you know a pirate. They can't turn down shiny things. Well, how long are you going to be here, though? Luffy would ask. I was only stopping by to gather some information before I head back out. My target's not here, so I have to keep moving. Wait, Vivi would ask. Would you be willing to help us? To help you? All due respect, Princess, I've got my own thing going on. I can't really afford to be getting sidetracked at the moment. But what if I make it worth your while? We're getting paid 1 billion berries for this, Nami said. Isn't that right, Princess? Yes. And a monetary reward for you would also be in order. If not, I'm sure we have other things in the treasury to your liking. Based on the information I have, tell you what. You got a log pose? A log pose? While the royal palace has many of them, they're used for when we travel. Why do you ask? It means you've got a lot of resources at your disposal. Let's say if I wanted to track down a guy, would you be willing to lend me that kind of support? I mean, I can't be very public about it, but I suppose that people could be lent along with supplies. Do you know what? I think that's reasonable compensation. Tell you what, I'll help out my little brother to make sure he doesn't screw up your kingdom, and I'll make sure you get it back. And in exchange, you're going to fulfill a little wish list of mine. You're going to help me find a certain someone. If that's really all that you want, then yes, we have an agreement. Perfect! Well, it'll be just like old times, eh, Luffy? Ace said as he wrapped his arm around his baby brother. You've gotten really strong since the last time I've seen you. But, you care to show me just how strong you've gotten? I mean, swinging around that pitchfork of yours. It's called a trident, jerk. Yeah. You know, I like to fight with those from time to time. Ace would back away from the group as he held out his hand and caused flames to ignite, before the flames would take the shape of a flaming trident as he threw it high into the sky, and they watched as it exploded in a great ball of fire. I call it the Flaming Trident. Pretty nifty, huh? I got it from watching you guys practice for a while before I left. It comes in handy. And I see that you gained the powers of a devil fruit, Volko would say. The Mera Nomi, or the Flame fruit as it's called, turns me into a man of fire. And I like to think it's a perfect counter. After all, Luffy's water, I'm fire. Opposites that attract better than anything else. By the way, baby brother, I hope you got plenty of water. Based off where we're going, if we have to travel through the desert, you're going to shrivel up rather quickly, aren't you? You know it'll take a lot more than that to stop me. But seriously, for the both of you, I heard it hasn't rained in Alabasta in quite a while. so you might want to get a hold of as much water as you can. After all, this is going to be one long journey. And everyone would agree with Ace on that, because now that they had arrived at Alabasta, the real work started now. They would have to traverse through a great desert before arriving to the capital of Alabasta, Alubarna. Beforehand, Vivi would send out her flying duck, Karu, with a message tied to him. A message warning the king of the treachery of Crocodile. Hopefully enough, the king could get the message before they arrived. And hopefully, the truth of what was going on. A rebellion was starting to brew in Alabasta. The rebel forces and the royal capital. Two sides preparing to fight for what they believed were grievances against one another. And if something wasn't done soon, it could lead to the end of everything. Meanwhile, a black submarine would pull into the docking port of Nanohana as two scouts would survey the area, getting a detail of everything that happened before reporting to their captain. From what we've been able to gather, the Straw Hats are now working in conjunction with the vice captain of the Whitebeard Pirates, Porcus D. Ace. So, the famed fireman Porcus D. Ace is here in Alabasta as well. It seems like our treasure trove of bounties just keep mounting higher and higher. How you want to play this? We're going to take the shortest route to the capital, and we'll wait from there. If the Straw Hats are cutting through the desert, by the time they get out, they'll be a lot weakened, dehydrated, and they'll be easy pickings, especially our primary targets. What about Crocodile? What about him? You heard the rumors, haven't you? What? Of a coup d'etat? Please. Countries come and go every day. That is not why we're here. But there's also something else. Word is, he has someone of high value in his employee. And who might that be? The Devil Child, Nico Robin. The Nico Robin? The sole survivor of the O'Hara Buster Call? That Nico Robin? And you know what they say, Pops? Wherever there's Nico Robin, there's sure to be a poneglyph not too far away. That they do, that they do. It seems like things just keep on getting more and more interesting. But no matter. We stick to the plan. Right now, our primary targets are the Atlanteans. But if we happen to come across the Devil Child, then I believe we can form a little bit of negotiations with Mr. Crocodile, don't you think? After all, she can't be that valuable that he'd risk losing everything just for her. But if he has her in his organization, then you already know what he's up to. I do. He's searching into things that he shouldn't. And you know how dangerous that is. Don't worry, son. I've dealt with pirates. They're all the same. Doesn't matter what fancy title you try to give them. In the end, they're all selfish, greedy little piggies. They'll do anything to survive, even sell out their own. So don't worry too much about Crocodile. When the time comes, we'll take care of him too. one way or another, they always go down. It's just a matter of when. That's why we have to be patient, plan it out, and when we make our move, remember the motto? Yeah, don't miss. This concludes One Piece King of the Sea, What If Luffy Was Aquaman, Season 2, Part 5. As always, if you enjoyed today's video and everything else that we have to offer, then please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share, and hit that bell for post notifications so you can stay up to date on everything that is Power Core Productions and Podcastings that's to come out now and in the future. Stay tuned next Monday evening as we continue with One Piece King of the Sea, What If Luffy Was Aquaman, Season 2, Part 6. But anyway, that's going to do it for the end of today's video. I'm Javon Harrington with Power Core Productions and Podcastings, signing off, and I'll see you next time.